You've been taught that desire is fuel, that the stronger you want something, the harder you push, the closer you get. So you visualize every day, you affirm, you script, you feel the feelings. And yet somehow, the things you want most desperately keep slipping further away. Here's the truth. Nobody wants to hear your desire isn't bringing your manifestation closer. It's pushing it away. Not because the universe is cruel, but because wanting creates a frequency of lack that contradicts the very reality you're trying to collapse. The quantum field doesn't respond to intensity. It responds to coherence. And the moment you understand this paradox that the less you want it, the faster it comes, everything changes. Your manifestations stop being a struggle and start becoming inevitable. Not because you gave up, but because you finally stopped interfering.
There is a pattern that repeats itself in every person who is on the brink of a breakthrough. The moment they want something too intensely, it slips further away. Not because the universe is cruel, or because they're doing something wrong, but because the very energy behind wanting creates a signal that contradicts the reality they're trying to create. And if this video found you right now, it's because you're reaching a point where the things you desire the most are no longer meant to be chased. They're meant to be claimed. But to claim something in the quantum field, you must understand a truth that most people resist. The less you want it, the faster it comes. This feels counterintuitive because the human mind was conditioned to believe that desire is fuel, that the stronger you want something, the harder you try, the more likely you are to reach it. And in the physical world, that logic works. You want a result, you push. You strive, you force the outcome. But the quantum field doesn't respond to force, it responds to coherence. The universe doesn't match your intensity, it matches your internal state. When you want too strongly, you are sending a frequency of lack, separation, and longing. You are reinforcing the idea that the thing you want is somewhere outside of you, distant, unavailable, out of reach. You think you are manifesting, but vibrationally, you are broadcasting the exact opposite message: I don't have it yet. The paradox is that desire can open the door, but attachment closes it. The moment desire becomes need, your field moves out of alignment, your nervous system tightens, your thoughts become frantic, your emotions contract, your intuition goes silent. Instead of signaling, I am ready, you start signaling, I am incomplete without this, and the quantum field will never deliver something that reinforces your incompleteness. Manifestation doesn't flow through the energy of desperation. It flows through the energy of embodiment. Most people never notice how subtle this shift is. They think they're visualizing. They think they're manifesting. They think they're staying positive. But underneath all of that, there is tension. There is fear. There is pressure. There is a subtle gripping in the body that says, if this doesn't happen soon, I won't be okay. And that emotional tension creates interference in the field, the same way static disrupts a clean radio signal. The quantum field doesn't respond to your words or your rituals. It responds to the emotional frequency behind them. Neuroscience confirms this. When the brain enters a state of desire mixed with fear, the amygdala becomes active, and the body enters survival mode. In survival mode, you can't synchronize with higher timelines because your energy collapses into the present moment's limitations. Your body and mind become future blind. You operate from scarcity, vigilance, and hyperfocus, and manifestation cannot land in a nervous system that is bracing for impact. Quantum physics mirrors this too. The observer effect shows that the state of the observer determines the state of the observed. If the observer is tense, the field constricts. If the observer is open, the field expands. This is why the most powerful manifestations arrive when you reach a state of internal neutrality. Not indifference, but completion. Not giving up, but letting go of the emotional need for the outcome. When you stop needing something, you remove the resistance that keeps it from arriving. Your energy becomes spacious. Your nervous system softens. Your thoughts slow down. Your intuition becomes sharper. You start acting from clarity instead of fear. And without realizing it, your field shifts from I want to I am. That is the moment the universe responds. If lately you've felt frustrated, impatient, or stuck with your manifestations, you're not failing. You're gripping too tightly. You're trying to force the quantum field to move faster than your frequency allows. The universe is not withholding anything from you. It's waiting for you to stop pushing it away with the energy of longing. When you relax your grip, your timeline accelerates. When you release the urgency, you make space for the outcome. When you stop insisting, you stop contradicting your own intention. You begin to operate from the state that magnetizes instead of the state that repels. And here's the part you may not realize. You're already closer than you think. The fact that you're hearing this means your field has been trying to shift for weeks. You may have noticed subtle signs. Emotional exhaustion from wanting too much. Flashes of clarity in the middle of chaos. Dreams that feel symbolic. Coincidences that feel too precise to ignore. A quiet pull to stop chasing and start trusting. These aren't accidents. They're the signals that your field is preparing to transition, because the truth is simple. What you want is not on the other side of effort. It's on the other side of surrender. Not surrender as in giving up, but surrender as in aligning with the version of you that already has what you've been trying to attract. The less you want it, the faster it comes. Not because the universe rewards apathy, but because it responds to coherence. And coherence begins the moment you stop trying to force a reality and start allowing it to meet you. In the comments, drop one thing you're ready to stop wanting and start embodying. Maybe it's abundance. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's clarity. Maybe it's something uniquely yours. Let this be a small but profound declaration. A signal you send not just in this space, but into the quantum field itself. Most people misunderstand detachment because they confuse it with not caring. They assume that letting go means walking away from what they desire, abandoning the vision, suppressing their feelings, or pretending they don't want something that clearly matters to them. But detachment has nothing to do with emotional numbness. In fact, detachment requires a deeper connection with your desire, just not the kind built on fear. The real detachment, the kind that accelerates quantum manifestation, is the moment your nervous system stops contradicting your intention. It's the moment your inner world stops arguing with your future. Detachment is a state of internal coherence where your desire no longer feels distant, heavy, or conditional. It is the moment the desire stops being something you chase and becomes something you tune into. The universe responds instantly when you reach this alignment, because you're no longer radiating tension, you're radiating truth, and truth is magnetic. It collapses probability faster than intention alone ever could. To understand this, you must see desire as a frequency, not an emotion. When desire arises from incompleteness, the frequency contracts. You feel a pull in the chest, tension in the stomach, noise in the mind. You try to manifest from that place. And the quantum field mirrors that contraction, with delays, obstacles, and mixed signals. But when desire comes from alignment, the knowing that what you want is compatible with who you're becoming, the energy expands. Your body relaxes. Your intuition sharpens. Your actions become clear. And the field rearranges effortlessly to match the new coherence. In quantum mechanics, coherence is everything. When particles are coherent, they behave as a unified system rather than separate random events. When your inner world becomes coherent, your manifestations behave the same way: unified, synchronized, inevitable. This explains why some manifestations arrive suddenly, effortlessly, without any logical buildup. The field wasn't waiting for a physical opportunity. It was waiting for your internal coherence. This is why detachment accelerates everything. When you stop emotionally gripping your desire, you stop broadcasting fear. The brain exits survival mode. The heart field stabilizes. The electromagnetic signature of your body shifts from contraction to expansion. And the universe, which is constantly reading your field, responds to the change instantly, not gradually, instantly. It reorganizes probabilities the moment your internal frequency no longer conflicts with your external intention. This is why you often manifest things the moment you stop obsessing over them, when you stop checking your phone for the message, when you stop refreshing your bank account, when you stop replaying conversations in your mind, when you stop mentally rehearsing every possible outcome. The physical evidence arrives. Not because you lost interest, but because you stopped generating interference. You stopped being the block. You allowed the field to deliver what was already trying to reach you. And if you're honest with yourself, you've felt this. You've felt the difference between wanting and allowing. There are desires you've held with a quiet confidence, and they came with surprising ease. And there are desires you clung to so tightly that you suffocated them with your urgency. The desire was pure, but the emotional charge distorted the signal. You weren't manifesting. You were broadcasting fear disguised as intention. Detachment is the liberation of that fear. It's the moment you stop believing that your desire has the power to complete or destroy you. It's the moment your identity becomes bigger than the outcome. You step into the version of yourself who can hold what you want without collapsing under the weight of it. And that inner expansion is what calls the timeline to you with speed. But there's something deeper happening here, something most people never understand. When you detach, you're not stepping away from the desire. You're stepping into the self who already has it. Your identity shifts. Your emotional body stabilizes. Your frequency becomes consistent with the outcome. And the quantum field responds not to desire, not to discipline, not to rituals. It responds to identity. If the identity is a match, the manifestation is automatic. This is why you've heard people say, "When I stopped caring, it finally happened." What they really mean is that their identity stopped contradicting their desire. They embodied the version of themselves who didn't need the outcome to feel whole. And the moment they stabilized that inner state, the universe finally had a clear channel to deliver. If you're feeling frustrated, impatient, or stuck, detachment is not about walking away. It's about stepping in. It's about releasing the emotional static so your signal becomes clean. It's about relaxing your nervous system so the field can respond to a stable frequency instead of a frantic one. And most importantly, it's about remembering that your desire is not bigger than you. You are bigger than it. If this resonates with you, hit subscribe and click the bell icon next to it. Also, join our manifestation club on gogetter.eu. This isn't just a channel, this is a frequency. If you felt something shift while watching, you're already tuned in. We're not just consuming content here, we're embodying coherence. Let's keep rising together. To anchor this shift in your subconscious right now, I want you to participate in something intentionally, something symbolic and vibrational. Comment below, "I release the grip," not to manifest faster, but to signal your system that you are done operating from contraction, to affirm that your energy is becoming precise, clear, and coherent, to claim the version of you who allows instead of forces, who embodies instead of chases, who magnetizes instead of grasps. Because once you release the grip, your timeline begins to accelerate, and that's exactly what happens next. The identity shift that collapses desire into reality. There is a moment in every manifestation journey where the desire stops being the driving force, and the identity becomes the gateway. Most people never reach this moment because they stay trapped in the emotional turbulence of wanting, thinking that the desire itself will bring them closer to the outcome. But the quantum field doesn't respond to your desire. It responds to the version of you who is holding that desire. This is the part most people never understand. Manifestation doesn't happen when you want something hard enough. It happens when you become the person for whom that desire is natural. The universe is not reacting to your thoughts like commands. It is reading the coherence of your identity, the vibrational posture you hold when nobody is watching. And when your identity contradicts your desire, the field mirrors the contradiction. This is why you can visualize for months and still feel stuck. It's why you can script, meditate, say affirmations, create vision boards, repeat mantras, and yet the thing you want feels distant. Because your mind is saying this is mine, but your nervous system is whispering this is missing. And the field always responds to the whisper, not the declaration. Identity is the anchor of manifestation, because identity is the frequency you emit without effort. It is your baseline energy, your default emotional setting, your unspoken belief about who you are and what you're allowed to receive. When your desire requires you to leave that identity behind, the manifestation can only arrive once the identity collapses, not the desire, the self you've been carrying. The old patterns of thought, the emotional reflexes, the survival mechanisms, the narratives that tether you to the past version of yourself. Desire pushes you forward, but identity holds you in place. This is why the less you want something, the faster it comes. Not because you stop caring, not because you detach to manipulate the outcome, but because wanting is often the last sign that your identity is still anchored in not having. When you shift into the version of yourself who holds the manifestation with ease, wanting dissolves, not because the desire disappears, but because the identity expands enough to make the outcome feel natural. You stop wanting because you've already become the person who receives. From a neuroscience perspective, this shift is visible. The brain stops firing from fear-based networks and begins creating new neural patterns aligned with the future identity. The limbic system calms. The prefrontal cortex gains clarity. The nervous system stops bracing for loss and starts stabilizing into emotional coherence. You're no longer thinking your future. You're embodying it. This embodiment creates a state of predictive familiarity, where your brain begins to treat the desired outcome as something known, not something distant. And the quantum field mirrors that familiarity with opportunities, synchronicities, and shifts that align with the identity you've assumed. Spiritually, this is the collapse of the old self. It is the moment you stop rehearsing the past and begin resonating with the future. You feel it not as excitement, but as peace. Not as urgency, but as inevitability. Desire stops feeling like longing and starts feeling like recognition. You intuitively know your manifestation is somewhere in your field, not because of signs, not because of rituals, not because of logic, but because your internal state has already become the version of you who holds it. This identity shift is subtle, but powerful. You begin to think differently, not in forced affirmations, but in new default thoughts. You begin to carry yourself differently, with a grounded confidence that isn't showy or loud, but quiet and resonant. You stop chasing external validation because your inner world stops depending on it. You no longer tolerate old patterns because they no longer match your frequency. You begin choosing actions that reinforce the version of you who already has what you desire. And every choice stabilizes the new identity further into the field. The quantum field responds to consistency, not emotional spikes, not bursts of motivation, not temporary high vibrations, not desperate rituals. It responds to the identity you stabilize over time. The version of you that becomes your dominant state. This is why manifestation doesn't arrive through force. It arrives through alignment. Alignment happens when your thoughts, emotions, actions, and energetic posture are consistent with the same version of you. And once this identity is stable, your manifestation becomes automatic. Think about the areas in your life where things come easily. You don't force them. You don't obsess over them. You don't micromanage the outcome. They flow because your identity already matches the frequency of those experiences. Manifestation becomes fast the moment your desire moves into that category. The moment it stops feeling like something you're trying to create and starts feeling like something you're destined to experience. This is why the shift from wanting to being is everything. Being is not pretending. Being is not acting as if. Being is becoming. Becoming is coherence. Coherence is what collapses timelines. When your identity aligns, the universe doesn't need time to catch up. It adjusts instantly because the field reads you as the person for whom the outcome is a natural extension of who you are. In the comments, share one identity shift you're making today. It could be from waiting to receiving, or from hoping to knowing, or from seeking to embodying. Your shift matters. Your identity matters because you matter. There is a point in every manifestation journey where the universe stops responding to your words, your vision boards, your affirmations, or your desires, and begins responding exclusively to your identity. This is the moment where manifestation becomes effortless, predictable, and fast. Not because life becomes easier, but because your internal world stops contradicting what you're trying to create. When your identity matches the version of you who already has the outcome, the quantum field doesn't need convincing. It doesn't need rituals. It doesn't need reminders. It simply reflects the coherence of your being. This is the law that sits beneath every successful manifestation. The quantum field responds to who you are, not what you want. And who you are is not defined by your self-image or your past. It is defined by the frequency you stabilize, the emotional, neurological, and spiritual signature you carry throughout the day. Manifestation accelerates the moment your frequency becomes congruent with the reality you're asking for. Desire can initiate the process, but identity completes it. You can't force this shift. You can't pretend your way into it. You can't trick the universe, affirm your way out of fear, or visualize your way past contraction. The field is precise. It mirrors your most coherent state, not your loudest intention. This is why wanting too hard slows everything down. Wanting is a signal of separation, a declaration that you and your desire exist in two different realities. But when you embody the identity of the version of you who already holds the manifestation, the separation dissolves. You and the desire become one timeline. And the moment the timeline merges with your identity, the outcome becomes inevitable. This merging is the essence of detachment. Your body stops bracing. Your mind stops chasing. Your emotions stop gripping. And your field stops fragmenting. Instead of seeking the outcome, you start matching it. Instead of hoping, you begin harmonizing. Instead of forcing, you start allowing. When this happens, your life reorganizes itself with incredible speed. People shift out of your timeline. Opportunities appear in ways your logical mind could not plan. Synchronicities cluster. Intuition sharpens. Obstacles dissolve. Momentum builds. What once felt heavy suddenly feels natural. What once felt distant begins moving toward you with precision. This isn't luck. It's coherence. Manifestation doesn't become faster because the universe finally gives in. It becomes faster because you stopped contradicting the frequency of the outcome. Imagine tuning a radio. You don't force the signal into clarity. You align the dial. When the frequency matches, the message is clear. Manifestation works the same way. When your identity aligns with your desire, the quantum field locks onto your signal with no interference. The outcome becomes the only logical trajectory your timeline can follow. And here's the part most people miss. You can feel this identity shift before the manifestation arrives. There's a calmness, a quiet knowing, a neutrality that doesn't come from giving up, but from finally aligning. You stop obsessing. You stop doubting. You stop overthinking. You stop rehearsing the worst-case scenario. Your emotional body becomes spacious. Your intuition becomes direct. And your mind becomes incredibly still. This inner shift is the first physical evidence that your manifestation is already forming. Most people think the proof comes after the manifestation, but in higher states of consciousness, the proof comes before, in the form of clarity, detachment, and identity coherence. When the version of you who has the desire becomes more real than the version of you who is waiting for it, the shift is complete. You cross the threshold, and the quantum field has no choice but to adjust. Right now, the universe is not waiting to deliver. It's waiting for identity alignment. And the fact that you're here, resonating with these words, means you're already dissolving the gap between who you were and who you are becoming. The desire is not ahead of you, it's orbiting you, waiting for the moment your frequency stabilizes. That moment is closer than you think. If you want to anchor this identity, refine your coherence, stabilize the higher frequency, and collapse the timeline between desire and embodiment, then your next step is to deepen this transformation intentionally, not just with understanding, but with integration. The Awaken Your Quantum Power ebook was created for exactly this threshold. It guides you through the shift from wanting to being, through the identity collapse that makes manifestation automatic, through the emotional coherence required to align with higher timelines, and through the practices that stabilize quantum detachment. It includes a practical workbook that turns this awareness into daily embodiment so your nervous system learns to hold the frequency of the version of you who already has what you are calling in. If your intuition is pulling you, if something in your chest feels open, expanded, or aligned right now, trust it. Your identity is already shifting. The link to Awaken Your Quantum Power is waiting in the pinned comment. You're ready to stop wanting. You're ready to start becoming. And the moment you become, the universe meets you with precision. Make sure you share this video with your loved ones. You might just be the blessing in disguise they need today. Remember, you're not just sharing, you're spreading coherence and truth. And that energy will collapse every timeline that's been waiting for someone to finally embody instead of chase.